Good morning and welcome to this week's Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. This week, Duane heads out on the AGCO crop tour. First, we'll meet Ivan Lentsch with Precision Planting, who talks about high-speed planting options and how to avoid potential problems. Enjoy an update from Kansas Soybean. Then Mark Brewster of AGCO talks about setting the best seed-to-soil contact, leaving the least amount of residue to promote growth. Then enjoy our weekly Kansas Farm Bureau update, followed by Plain Talk with Kyle and Duane. Stay tuned.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
I had this horse. It was a good horse, except for when the wind was blowing above 30 miles an hour. Wind was blowing about 35, 40, and I saddled him up, rode him out to the end of the lane, and I thought, well, he's doing pretty good. And about 6 jumps later, I was laying on the ground and thinking, boy, my shoulders sure hurt. I kept waiting, and it didn't get better, and so I went to orthopedic surgeon, and that showed that I had torn rotator cuff. And said, well, we'll have to do surgery. I thought, I farm and ranch by myself. This is not going to work out very well. I'd been sleeping in my recliner for about 2.5 years because it hurt too much to sleep in bed on my side. I'd heard about Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center on the radio. Gotten down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by 11:30 the procedure was all over. They just took some fat out of my side here and spun that down for about 45 minutes and then injected it in my shoulders, and I was on my way. It's something you don't hear about, but I thought it was worth a try, and I'm really pleased. It's really worked out well for me.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first, Duane talks to Ivan Lentsch about high-speed planting.
Duane Taves joining him once again here on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Ivan Lentsch with Precision Planting. Ivan, we think about some of the things that the industry, when we think about row crop production in particular, would be planting speeds in the fields. A lot of discussion about how far we can push that envelope and still get the kind of stands that we want.
Great question. It is kind of a hot topic, right? We know that the original design for the current seed tube that's in the marketplace, that curve in that seed tube is intended to accelerate that seed rearward at about 4.7 miles an hour. So the old adage of 4.5 to 5 miles an hour holds fairly true with that. So we're dropping that seed dead in the furrow, right? No rolling around. Of course, with speed, we would add some kind of belt device. For us, it's a speed tube where we would take a flighted belt and deliver a seed to the trench at the current forward rate of travel. So we'll match that belt speed with travel speed. So some of the concerns that can present themselves, early on, it was something as simple as hybrid planting, or hybrid choice rather, during planting. If we can, instead of a 2-week window, and we get it all done in 3 days, that's a bit of an extreme, right? It's rarely quite that good, but during a high moisture corn harvest, on the high moisture side, suddenly it's all ready. So it comes down to making sure you select the right hybrid so that we can get that staggered for wherever your harvest demand is. Another item, of course, with speed comes row unit ride. So if we don't manage downforce or firming force for each of those row units individually, we can end up with very shallow planted seeds, likely into some drier ground, which is going to delay emergence and change, of course, what our yield potential is. So what we've seen, no matter whose high-speed planting option you go with, just be sure to use an individual row hydraulic downforce system. We have found that Delta Force really smooths out that row unit ride in basically all conditions, but at speed it really makes a difference in getting reaction time right so that we don't have any shallow plant seed.
Think about some of the things that can go wrong with that when we talk about those speeds. Getting seed row spacing done correctly and getting the kind of uniform consistency of stand. We've seen time and again that the data proves out that that's a key in getting top-end yields.
Correct. So singulation and spacing together, singulation being a measurement, really a metric of seed meter performance, is step one, right? We've got to be able to deliver one seed, every time, no doubles, no skips, and then of course the spacing piece from seed release until we hit the trench. We're trying to capture that seed as it comes off the disc at said population, and deliver it hopefully flawlessly to that trench.
And ultimately, you've got to get that seed to soil contact, get it closed uniformly, and then ultimately, days later, we see a uniform stand.
Correct. Our consistency in emergence is particularly at speed, becomes an issue if we're not very closely monitoring that row unit ride and depth control. If we have consistent temperature and consistent moisture, of course, we can end up with consistent emergence. So one thing I would recommend, even if it were only one or two rows, a device on there to monitor temperature, moisture, maybe even organic matter, things like a smart firmer, really assist in ensuring that we have that consistency for emergence.
Our thanks to Ivan Lentsch with Precision Planting joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
You don't have to be a farmer or rancher to become a Kansas Farm Bureau member. Anyone can join. As a member, you'll get discounts on things like hotels and entertainment, health and wellness services, cell phone plans, and more. You'll also strengthen the lives of your fellow Kansans and help build strong, prosperous communities through agriculture advocacy and education. Join us today. Visit kfb.org/join to learn more.
This segment brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Charles Atkinson from Great Bend serves as the Kansas representative on the American Soybean Association Board of Directors, and he joins us now. And Charles, ASA is now accepting applications for their Conservation Legacy Awards.
Yes, we are, and we got kind of a short turnaround here, but September 13th is when they're due, and we want to encourage everybody, all of our soybean producers, to take the opportunity to apply for the Conservation Legacy, because all of us have a legacy to share. All of us have wonderful farms out there and doing a lot of real good conservation work, and this is really just your opportunity to toot your horn and let us know what you're doing out there to conserve our resources.
Will the awards be given based on a regional basis, depending on where you're at in the U.S.?
Yes, they are split up in regions, and Kansas has been very fortunate to win the Midwest region several times, and we compete with some pretty outstanding states as far as their conservation work, but we've had a lot of winners over the years, and we really want to encourage everybody here in the Midwest region to apply.
I'm sure in the past there have been some very impressive conservation practices that have been awarded one of the legacy awards that you've seen throughout the years.
Oh, there has been. I mean, we've got guys that are, of course, running no-till, the cover crop, the strip till, and, it's also those little things that you apply that a lot of times people don't think about. Maybe you've got a few buffer strips in there. Maybe you're doing some wildlife habitat, some monarch butterfly habitat out there. Just all of those things that add to the production agriculture and add to conserving our conservation, our soils and our waters. And we've even had some guys that had some innovative irrigation practices out there. So it's kind of an open book. We just need you to tell us what you got out there and how you're utilizing it and how it's increasing your production and conserving your resources.
The Soybean Checkoff is one of those sponsors that are proud to sponsor the Conservation Legacy Awards.
Yes, they are. And we've got other sponsors on there, and we're really proud that they understand and they recognize that conservation is important in agriculture. And, and we've always said that the farmers are the best stewards of the resources of soil and water. And this is just a good opportunity to showcase those efforts.
So if a farmer is interested in applying, what's the best way they can do that?
The best way they can do that is they can either contact their office, any of the soybean offices in their state, or they can go to soygrowers.com and click on the Legacy Award tab, and it'll take them right to the application.
Charles Atkinson from Great Bend serves as a Kansas representative on the ASA Board of Directors, and he joins us on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Coming up, Duane talks seeding and tillage with Mark Brewster of AGCO.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane talks with Mark Brewster about seed-to-soil contact.
Duane Taves joining you once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and an opportunity to catch up with Mark Brewster with AGCO. Mark, we think about agronomics, tillage and compaction and its influence on yield and profitability ultimately for producers. It has a big impact, but certainly there's no one fit scenario for everyone.
No, this year's a great example of that. For example, this field here that we're in today, they chose to do some heavy tillage in the fall, and then later on in the spring they chose to use a field cultivator. And with that, they had some inherent problems with what I call nodules, or it makes the ground real coarse because it was wet when they did the tillage, and with being so wet, it made it hard to plant at different depths. So in our crop study that we're doing here today, it actually showed the amount of residue in the different layers and how far you had to go down to get a clean trench to actually get your best seed position in there, to get the best seed to soil contact and have the least amount of residue next to your seed to promote growth.
We think about the opportunities for those different environments that we're working in. Each year is a little bit different as well, but some form of conservation tillage has become fairly prevalent across a vast part of the central U.S.
Our biggest promoter, the one that actually works best for most people in this area, has been the Sunflower VT, the vertical tillage tool. It has actually done the best job of seedbed preparation, because you actually want to go just about a 1/4 inch shallower than where you want to plant. In other words, that helps you keep a clean seed trench. And again, that's the agronomic benefit to that, to help you get the most out of each seed you put in the ground.
We think about why there's differences. Obviously, there's different soil types, different rainfall patterns, and so forth. That makes it a challenge for a company like AGCO to come up with solutions for guys that meet the whole gamut of that.
Yeah, that's right. There's a different tool for each type of job you're trying to do. There's a lot of no-till guys out there, of course. But this year, with the amount of rains that we're seeing, what it's done to the soil conditions and the water compaction that we're getting from that has led to people purchasing tillage equipment that haven't bought tillage equipment for years. So this is a new challenge that we're seeing this year.
Well, certainly in the central part of the Kansas, in the Central Plains, we're normally trying to conserve moisture. This spring, it was a bit of a challenge getting things planted. And we think about the preparation ahead of that. Certainly it made for some long nights and long days trying to get that accomplished this year.
Yeah, it made it into a true drama taking place throughout the season because of what has happened last fall with the ruts in the field, and of course this spring trying to close those ruts in, and then of course the rains we got later on in the year, how much it affected us, and then what we had to do to try to even put crops in the ground. It has been a real struggle this year to get things planted, and there's some places that suffered for it and didn't get anything planted. I mean, they've changed from corn, wanting to plant corn, to okay, we got to plant soybeans now, and it's like too late for soybeans. Now we're planting milo.
Our thanks to Mark Brewster with AGCO joining us on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source, together we grow.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or for more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau update.
We just have a few small cow-calf herd, and plus we take and grow corn, soybeans, and wheat.
Our son-in-law works with Farm Bureau and has been telling us about different things, and so I started watching the little newsletters for little trips they were doing. So we've been to on two different Farm Bureau trips beside this one, and I think they're just all very educational, and one just learns a lot when you go to all these different places. And they always do a good job of variety. A little of this, a little of that, and by the end of the evening you've got so much information. You can't keep it all straight.
I thought there at Angus Farm, when we went to go see where they built that new facility to do their AIing, the shoot facilities and the bud system and all that, I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I think the trips are well planned and very organized. Everything flows pretty smoothly. And then, yeah, you get to eat in between.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call. We can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery. And so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously. So I'm tickled to death with the results, and I'd recommend this process to anyone.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Let us help feed your family.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to on this edition of Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk, with the guy that I need to give advice to if he ever takes up drinking coffee. When you put cream on it, in it, and it swirls and it's brown, that's fresh coffee. When you put cream in it and you swirl it and it's gray, it's been brewing there a while.
Really?
The Wayne Taves.
I drink coffee like 3 times a winter.
See, I knew that you needed some advice if the day ever comes you get old enough to drink coffee.
I just don't understand. And then there's the crazy people that drink it in the middle of summer in the field. I know some folks up the road from where I grew up that they'd be baling straw in the middle of July, square bales on a rack, sun beating down, hot as all daylight out, and stop and want hot coffee for a break.
My dad always drank sugar in his coffee, and I will tell you, when he went to the field and he put the sugar in the thermos, and then it kind of steeped there all day long and sloshed around.
Okay.
I mean, it was good before, but when it
your dad
rode
was
around
a
there
Batista, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Didn't even know it.
One of those coffee fellers.
Barista. Barrister.
What is a Batista?
That's a baseball player that most people don't like.
Okay. So I'm telling you, well, see, I think I don't want to out any particular ethnic group, but we were, in my community, you just had to drive like 2 miles, you were in a different ethnic group, and one of them saucered their coffee.
Mm.
And it was really quite a skill to it, and they always had sugar and cream in it, and then they would saucer it. Have you ever seen this done?
No, but that's what that little plate's for and all those place settings.
Not really, no. But they'd saucer it, and then they'd tip that up. And
nice sound effect there.
Every drop of it was saucered.
Really?
Yeah, and I suppose it
that would be maybe the way I could drink coffee, because I don't know why I'm averse to drinking coffee because it's hot.
Yeah,
burned my mouth.
Right.
And so then I got to wait, and then you wait too long, and then it's cold.
Yeah.
Of course, there's people that drink iced coffee, which I really don't understand that at all.
I suppose, I know you're that guy of mouthfeel, so I suppose that the coffee has a bad mouthfeel for you.
Actually.
So it's either too
hot. This is the funniest story.
Or it's too cold.
And I get to tell it instead of my wife. We were recently married, right? And I came
recently
down.
Married 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time when we were recently married, a number of years ago, I got the flu and a stomach flu and was not feeling well. And I asked my wife if she would make me some hot tea. And so she goes to the kitchen and puts the pot on the stove and brings it to me. And it's just, it's like 12,000 degrees when she hands me this cup of hot tea. And I made the fatal mistake of saying, well, that's not how my mom did it. She just used hot tap water. And needless to say, I'm relatively confident that was the first, last, and only time my wife will make hot tea for me.
Okay, when you get hot tea that's only made with hot tap water, which I've never heard of that.
Well, you can drink it right away. You don't burn your mouth.
Do you have sugar or lemon in it then?
You can put a little sugar in. I'm not a huge sweetener fan.
Okay, so it's just tea, instant tea made with
a
tap
tea
water?
bag.
Tea bag.
Tea bag.
I didn't even know that tap water would steep a tea bag.
Well, hot water out of the tap.
Right.
Not just cold tap water.
No,
however,
I know.
It's however hot you have your hot water heater set at.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on 3 main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about employee safety and work comp coverage. On your farm, do you ask your friends to come help? Are they considered employees or neighbors helping neighbors? Did you know that you can be held responsible just as if it's a work comp accident? Give me a call, we can discuss. 316-945-6733.